AB History.
Waste of time yan. Industrial design.
Low demand.
Siguro low demand.
Radtech.
In demand.
Ang Bachelor of Science, top tier. Computer Science, best. So today, mag-rank tayo ng mga college courses para sa mga employers. Kasama ko ngayon si Solomon Sai, ang kuya ng Bayan, at ako ngayon ang coach ng Bayan, para mag-rank tayo ng mga college courses based kung sila ay dapat bigyan nyo ng oras or sayang lang sa oras at pagod at tuition ninyo.
So, first, sabihin lang natin na, let's face it, may mga college courses na mas mataas chance yung mga kumita ka doon. At may mga college courses na kahit na matake mo siya, baka wala kang makuha ng trabaho at saka sayang lang yung oras mo. Pero, siguro yung para hindi kayo ma-insulto, kung passion nyo naman talaga yung course na yun or yung trabaho na yun or line of work na yun, kahit na mahirap, go ahead and do it. Especially kung meron naman kayong pamilya that can support you. However, kung wala kayong pamilya to support you, tapos ito yung parang ikaw magiging breadwinner ng inyong pamilya or ikaw magiging breadwinner ng sarili mong pamilya, ito yung mga recommendations namin not to take kasi baka mas mapahirap lang yung buhay ninyo unless you're really passionate about this line of work or this course that you want to take.
So 5 categories. So waste, low demand, in demand, top tier, and best. Pag ito yung inaral mo, ito yung 5 tingin ng mga employer, not only in the Philippines, pati mga overseas hiring na mga naglahanap na mga empleyado. Sige, umpisahan natin. Number 1, Bachelor of Arts in History or AB History. Anong tingin mo dyan?
More of waste of time yan. Alam ko marami mainis dyan. Alam kong history is important. I love history as a subject. Pero kung you're going to take up BA History or Bachelor of Arts in History, ano magiging posible mong trabaho? Either maging librarian ka or maging professor ka. So both low-income jobs or baka maging teacher ka lang in history. Kung gusto mo magkaroon ng better paying job, I suggest avoid this. Unless, again, you're very passionate about history and you want to write books. But in this day and age, may bumibili pa ba ng mga books, Morgan?
Well, actually, I agree with you, no? Kasi AB History, very limited yung mga trabaho at opportunities na makukuha dito, no? Unless gusto mo maging teacher, writer, siguro sa mga very limited jobs, tulad ng mga movie production para sa mga, one-time job, contractual job. Pero kadalasan, waste of time ho ito. So, lagay natin sa waste of time. Pasensya na sa mga nag-aaral ng AB History, pero mara-realize nyo rin na pag dumanas na kayo sa actual job, for actual job employment, medyo dun yun makikita yung kahirapan ng paghahanap ng jobs. Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, AB Philosophy. Anong tingin mo dyan?
Well, again, sa mga mainsulto dyan, I think it's honestly a waste of time to focus on philosophy as a college course. Siguro taking it as a college subject, that's good to study philosophy, to learn more. Pero to make it an entire course, to make it the basis of your life, siya nga sinasabi nga ng pati ng mga naging philosophy teacher ko, kung nag-take up kayo ng philosophy as a course, wala naman philosophy factory dyan kung saan kayo makakahanap ng trabaho. So, yun nga, mga choices nyo nga, very limited yan. Maging teacher ka lang or writer lang.
Siguro sa akin, kasi ang philosophy, on its own, kulang siya eh. Siguro pwede siya sa mga pre-law, yung mga courses na ganon. Parang siya subject lang siya, hindi siya talaga buong course eh. Kung isipin mo din, kung yung sa side din ng mga HR, saan kanila pwede ilagay, di ba? Very limitado yung yung mapaglalagyan ka ng trabaho. Kaya masabi kong waste of time din ito.
Talking about yung pre-law nga, that's actually a good point. Kasi philosophy nga is a thinking person's course. So siguro if you take that as a pre-law and you become a lawyer, siguro at least na-train ka na sa pag-iisip mo how to think very critically. However, I would still not change my tier, Ryan King. I would still think it's a waste kasi there are other pre-law courses there that are much better to taking law classes. But yes, Morgan nga has a point na it can't be completely a waste of time if you actually choose to take up law kasi now you're thinking more critically.
Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in Industrial Design. Anong take mo dyan, Solo?
Well, that's an interesting one. But it's a Bachelor of Arts in Industrial Design. Meaning, for me, baka it could be low demand kasi you could end up working for yung mga design companies nga, for an architectural firm. You could start working as an interior designer or go contractual on your own, market yourself as a designer. So, may mga naghahanap dyan. And well, mahirap lang kasi you have to be contractual. No? Very few people would hire you as a company. Pero you might get lucky with individuals.
So more of low demand.
Siguro low demand.
Sige. So actually low demand din ang sasabihin ko diyan, no, kasi industrial design medyo meron siyang konting demand, very limitado pero meron, kaya low demand siya. Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in painting.
Well, that's also a very tough one. For me, painting is really a passion. Diba? If you're really into art, you might succeed. Diba may mga painters nga na nagiging milyonaryo in dollars, bilyonaryo pa nga, who knows, kasi nagiging successful sila. Pero, yun nga, those are the very few. If you're just a regular painter, diba, siya nga, sinasabi nga, na most of history's famous painters, gutom na gutom sila sa pera. Unless nakaswerte sila na may sponsor sila. Diba? May mga ibang artista dyan na kahit na pangit yung painting nila, binibili. Kasi dahil sa pangalan, not necessarily sa talent. Pero if you love to paint, go ahead. Pero for me, for most of you, if you're not good at painting or you're not really passionate about painting, then it's really a waste of time.
Waste of time. Actually, agree ako dyan, kasi ang mga painter ng mga kasaysayan in the early history, from the famous ones, sila Michelangelo and all these famous ones like Leonardo da Vinci, karamihan naman sa kanila wala pang college course ng painting, pero naturally kaya naman ma-acquire tong skill na to kung ito talaga yung hobby mo, no. Pero kung trabaho yung hanap mo at hanap buhay for actual income and job, parang waste of time, kasi sino ba mag-hire sa isang BS painting, 'di ba? Fine arts in painting. So waste of time tayo diyan.
Oh, and in addition, sobrang expensive maging painter. Yung mga paints ng painters, it's more expensive than regular yung mga watercolors that you see sa mga national bookstores. So, baka mapagastos ka pa ng sobra-sobra if you take up painting. So, it really is a passion course.
Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in sculpture.
Well, for this one, again, I would say it's the same as painting. It's really a passion. And you could get lucky, but most of the time, you probably won't unless nga may sponsor ka. Like yung mga famous, like Michelangelo or whatever, na sikat na sculptures na sumikat at saka sumwerte kasi may sponsor sila. Pero for me, it's still a waste of time unless you really, really want to do it.
I agree, kasi sculpture, din yan eh. It's more of a passion, Ganun din yung sabihin ko, yung mga famous sculptures, yung mga naggumagawa ng mga sculpturing in the past, wala rin naman silang college course eh. Talagang natural ability to eh. So, sa akin, wala akong makitang trabaho masyado, except siguro yung mga konting mga construction sites na may konting mga palasyo or design, pero napaka-konti ng trabaho yun. Hindi ko nga mako-consider na trabaho yun, parang contractual na paminsan-minsan, pero hindi siya kadalasan. So,
yung mahirap pa today, may mga 3D printing na.
may 3D
diba? So,
printing
na
pa.
pwede nilang i-copy, hindi nga siya magiging real or made of stone or whatever, pero
may competition pa from 3D
with
printing.
technology, mas mahirapan na yung regular manual sculpting.
Okay, so waste of time tayo dyan. Next is Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in visual communication.
Well, that's an interesting one rin. Visual communications. I'd say there's a demand. It's not completely a waste of time kasi you could end up working for yung mga PR firms or yung mga public relations ng mga kumpanya or like GMA or ABS-CBN. Yun nga lang, it's a very limited job market. And I would imagine it's very, very difficult kasi you have to be very good at communication and you have to be good at yun nga, arts rin. So that's something that's very difficult. I'd say it's just low demand. What do you think, Morgan?
Actually, low demand nga. Pero meron nga because of publishing industry. But even that, there are only a handful that you can count, no? Hindi siya like something that's widely available. So I'll say low demand. So low demand tayo. Sige, let's move on to social sciences. So ito interesting to kasi in our previous interview with President Jose Ramos Horta, he said that any social science course is actually a hard life, no? So mahirap makakuha ng trabaho daw but himayin natin, sa akin may mga certain social sciences na baka pumasa for a good jobs, no? So sige, umpisa natin. Bachelor of Arts in Economics, AB Economics.
I would say that has some demand. Siguro naman it's not completely limited. Pero kasi if I can also compare it to another one kasi there's two, 'di ba? Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Bachelor of Science in Economics.
Dalawa yun. Bachelor of Arts.
I think we should compare both.
Sige,
sa totoo lang, if we're going to rank between the two, I think Bachelor of Science Economics weighs higher than Bachelor of Arts Economics kasi mas maraming mga kumpanya and even government offices na naghahanap ng mga ekonomista or yung thinking ng ekonomista na sciences. Kasi ano ba, I'm not sure. Maybe you can enlighten me rin sa pagkaalam ko dito, Morgan. Is yung sciences, mas marami siyang math, mas marami siyang analytics, mas marami siyang equations, which is hinahanap nga yun for mga even companies. May mga kaibigan
Yes,
ako, mga economists sila from college, pero kinuha sila ng McDonald's, ng Shakey's, kasi sila yung nag-analyze ng mga data nila or ng NEDA, di ba? So, I think that there's in demand, pero it's very thin. Pero the job market is they get paid really well.
Oo. Sa akin, ang Bachelor of Science, ilalagay ko siya sa top tier, no? Kasi mas marami siyang mathematical equations na very useful siya, no? Ang AB Economics naman is also good kasi mas ito yung inaintindihan nila yung general dynamics of the economy, ano? Of course, there's less computations there. So I would say AB is an in-demand while BS is the top tier, no, for economics. Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology.
Well, with the modern day, na, diba, there's a lot of mental health talk. There's a lot more people who are actually open about their depression, their anxiety. Diba? It's more modern. It's more popular now. Kasi siguro in the past, maybe people were feeling those things, pero hindi pa sila open. I'd say Bachelor of Arts in Psychology is in demand if you take it up and become an actual parang psychiatrist or psychologist.
Pero may comparison tayo dito eh. Meron na naman AB tsaka BS.
Okay. So if we're talking about AB and BS, again, the BS is the one that is going to probably rate higher. Kasi I think the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist is a psychologist parang is a doctor that can prescribe medical drugs as opposed to a psychiatrist. Or baka I have that the other way around. Pero I think it's BS that allows you to be able to also prescribe drugs to your patients. So obviously there's higher income there and you're more valued to your possible patients.
Kasi yung AB Psychology, pang ano to, yung mga HR or yung mga recruitment, yan yung ano eh, where you try to size up yung mga recruits, no? So meron siyang demand, ano, pero syempre, regular demand lang siya kasi bawat kumpanya na may HR, nakakatulong ang AB Psychology. Pero ang BS Psychology kasi, it transcends greater heights, ano? Kasi meron siyang medical relations, so pwede ka pa mag pre-med from BS Psychology. So sige, lagay natin yung BS na naman sa yung BS Psychology sa top tier, tas in demand ulit sa
Yung
AB.
AB. Okay, yeah, agreed.
Bachelor of Science in Criminology.
Well, that's a good course naman if you want to be a police officer. And there's a police officer job naman pays well, especially if you have a degree. Pero if you're going to take criminology as a BS, or I think it's better if you also just take the PMA. Para if you're already in PMA, I think hindi ka na magsa-start as private, parang captain ka na ata. So if you're looking for a career in being a policeman in criminology, specifically take PMA.
Or PMPA.
PMPA or PMA, para pagpasok mo na sa career line of work na yun, hindi ka na papasok as some private or mahirapan ka na. And let's face it, yung regular policeman naman can earn quite a lot rin naman, di ba?
Oo. So, ang BS Criminology kasi flexible siya, no? Pwede ka maging police or pwede mo siya i-take again as pre-law para maging criminal lawyer ka, no? Pero so you can be a law enforcement or a lawyer. So meron siyang demand, no? So I'll say in demand. Bachelor of Arts in Political Science.
Oh, that's tough. I don't know how to rank that one. Kasi sa totoo lang, when it comes to political science, it's similar to the other bachelor's arts courses that we've talked about na sometimes magiging professor ka lang. Although, baka pwede kang makapasok sa mga embassy or sa mga government offices. Pero still, even sa mga government offices, they might prefer someone who has a different, more scientific mind of thinking, not just political science. So you could use that maybe as a pre-law. I think that's good as a pre-law, but for me, probably it's going to be low demand.
Sa akin, ng political science kasi, although may mga kilala ako nag-aral nito, pero syempre, karamihan sa kanila hindi naman talaga nagamit yung political science. Lumilihis sila sa kasi ano bang trabaho ng political science? Usually nasa politics ka, 'di ba? Pero even in politics, marami rin mga dynamics diyan na hindi lang political science ang kailangan mo, because when you're into politics, depends if you're the candidate or are you working for a politician. Then if you're working for a politician, yung trabaho mo is basically during the campaign, or guiding the politician. But if you're the politician itself, political science alone, kulang yan eh. Kasi kung executive ka or legislative, you need more broader understanding of society and how it works. So, para sa akin, this is where I see political sciences, parang kulang siya. Maybe it's a pre-law. I don't even look at it as low demand, more of waste of time. Anong tingin mo?
Well, siguro for me, there's low demand, pero I see where you're coming from na magiging waste of time siya.
So, agree tayo sa waste of time?
Sige, waste of time.
Sige, waste of time tayo sa political science.
Oh,
Pasensya na
don't
sa
be
mga
insulted, We're looking at career paths naman,
Kasi para sa inyo din to, para mag-guide kayo. Bachelor of Arts in English.
Well, I'm just going to say it up front. I think that's a waste of time. I think English is an important language to learn. Pero if you take up a Bachelor of Arts in English, I think your only choices are teacher or writer. I guess if you really want to be a writer, that's a course to take. But again, writer, like a painter or a sculptor, it's a passion work, and you might end up starving. Or you could end up being the next J.K. Rowling. Who knows, diba? So for me, I'm just gonna say, in general, for 99% of people, taking up a Bachelor of Arts in English is probably a waste of time because you really won't have much of a career.
Actually, kanina bago ko nagsalita, I was leaning more into low demand just because naging uso yung mga English language teachers for foreigners para sa mga
That's a good point,
tutoring.
actually.
So may konti siyang demand. But in essence, marami rin akong kilala mga English teachers na nagtuturo sa mga foreigners. Hindi naman sila nag-BS, AB English, Bachelor of Arts in English. They have any other college course anyway. So they're also competing with you if you're a Bachelor of Arts in English and there's this other guy who's not a Bachelor of Arts in English competing with you for that same job. So from low demand, you're suddenly even lower demand kasi ang dami mo ng kakompetensya for that job because all of them can actually speak English naman and everyone has an English course during their high school and even their colleges. So,
siguro, in that point, it might have a higher demand kung maging OFW ka sa countries that need English like China, Japan, and Korea. Diba? These are the top countries that are paying well for English teachers. Pero yun nga, competition stiff. Kasi lahat ng mga naging AB English or BA English, gusto rin nila pumunta doon. So, makisiksik ka talaga doon to be the best English teacher. Siguro, yun yung ano.
So, either waste or low demand. Anong tingin mo doon?
Siguro for me, low demand, but taking into consideration na mag-OFW dapat ka.
Oo, for teaching abroad as English teacher no, sa mga Korea, Japan, mga non-English speaking countries. So, sige, low demand kasi may may foreigner naman eh. Pero still, low demand siya lalo na sa Pilipinas kasi sino lang tuturuan mo ng English dito? Yung mga foreigner na online. So, very low demand siya. Sige, let's talk about the next. Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics.
Well, that's a tough one. Kasi what's linguistics ba, diba? It's about language. It's about communication. In general, siguro, you might be useful if you're working for an embassy, siguro as a translator nga, but you really have to learn multiple different languages, diba? I watched nga a movie. I'm not sure if the audience knows this. It's Arrival, where the main character was a linguist, and the plot of the movie was there are aliens who arrive to Earth, and they have to. The U.S. government hires all the linguists in the world to try and translate the language. That was a movie that made me think that linguists, they have useful. Pero in this day and age, wala naman tayong alien na kinakausap. Everyone already knows each other's languages, pero you might be useful sa embassy, siguro sa UN, as a translator, diba? So I would say it's low demand. Siguro not naman a waste of time.
Yung linguistics is between low demand and waste of time kasi napaka-general niya eh. Kasi yung translator dapat magaling ka sa certain language to another language na i-translate mo. Linguistics kasi is the study of how languages, di ba, evolve.
Yeah.
So parang bitin siya, hindi rin siya pre-law. Pre-law ba siya?
I don't think that's a pre-law.
Parang hindi siya pre-law, So waste of time ba yan or?
Again, siguro yun nga, as long as you know other languages and you can be a translator, then it could be useful.
So it's a caveat, no? If you can adapt with other languages and you know linguistics, then it can be low demand. So it depends. But if linguistics lang and you only know one language,
waste of time talaga yun if you only know one language.
So right now, let's put it at low demand. Ganun na lang. Pero may caveat yun na you know more than one language or you're willing to learn more than one language. Bachelor of Arts in Literature.
Well, I think that's a waste of time for 99% of people, unless you really love to read books or you want to be a writer. Again, I think it's going to be a waste of time because otherwise, all you're going to do is read other people's work, and you're parang basing yourself just on what other great people have done. And aside from that, unless you have to do something or you can write something, what job are you going to get? Diba? Who's hiring someone to be in literature unless you're going to be parang you're going to be like an editor of a newspaper or an editor of novels. Siguro that has some demand, pero that's very, very few. That's a very, very small market. Either low demand or waste of time there.
I'll just go with waste of time. Ayoko na nga pag-usapan. Kasi literature, parang bitin din siya. Parang subject lang siya, hindi siya course. Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology.
Oh, that's a tough course here in the Philippines. Kasi, I mean, anthropology, even in the US, there's very few people who do that. Kasi that's people studying cultures, studying ancient tribes, mga ganun. I think there's a very, very, so small of a market for that. Kasi, really, what are you going to be studying and what jobs are you going to get? I mean, you'd have to probably get a job in the US in a research firm that's probably studying some tribe in Africa or in the Amazon, or I'd say that's a waste of time, siguro for 99% of people.
Waste of time. Ganun na rin. Bachelor of Arts in Sociology.
Well, I'd say that's the same as anthropology for me. So that's again
Waste
a
of
very small market, small job market na it's practically a waste of time na if you take it, gumastos ka lang ng pera, tsaka pinahirapan mo pa yung magulang mo.
Bachelor of Arts in Filipino.
Well, in a country of Filipinos, siguro the best you could do is be a Filipino teacher. You can't be an OFW with this course. Unlike AB English, AB English pwede ka pa maging teacher in China, Japan, Korea. If you take up AB Filipino, you're only working in the Philippines as a Filipino teacher. And I love learning Filipino, but it's just a subject really. So I'd say sadly it's a waste of time.
Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science.
Oh, I think this one has some demand. If you end up being a police officer or a police detective, I think this is a good course if you want to be a detective, which is higher than most police ranks. Kasi detectives are parang revered, especially for criminal investigation. So I think forensic sciences, that's an important one if you're going to take up a police course. So that has, I'd say, in demand.
In demand. I agree kasi itong very rare ang mga nagte-take up niyan. So yung mga jobs na available immediately may demand siya. So talaga magkakaroon ka ng chance na makuha ka kagad as a forensic scientist. Whether here or even sa abroad, kaya yun yung maganda dito. Internationally, siya, recognized yan. Sige, next, Bachelor of Arts in Islamic Studies.
Well, again, this is a passion project. Siguro if you want to become a religious figure in Islam, go ahead. I guess I'm not sure if that's the route you take to become an imam or a religious figure. Pero if you're looking for any other job, I'd say it's honestly a waste of time. It really has to be in your heart if you really want to be a religious figure or a religious teacher.
Yeah, I would agree. Waste of time. Okay. So, mapapansin marami tayong naging waste of time kasi inuna natin yung mga humanities and social sciences. Ngayon naman, let's go to natural sciences. Dito marami tayong mga mas interesting choices. Sige, umpisa natin sa BS, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science.
That one, I think in the modern world today, kasi nung mga 1970s, 1950s, up to 1980s, parang walang pa kayong tao sa environment, di ba? Kaya nga, meron tayong mga fishes or seas that are polluted with trash, etc. Yung sinasabi nga lang in the 70s, LA, mga ibon, namamatay, nahuhulog na lang dahil sa pollution sa air. Pero in today's day and age, mas conscious na yung mga companies in environmental science, di ba? So, siguro, and yung mga waste management companies, yung mga factories, they have to hire someone who has environmental science experience. So I'd say that's an in-demand job. There's very few of it, and you have the potential to earn high, especially if you work for corporations.
I agree kasi in environmental science, yung mga desalination plants, yung mga big companies that have a lot of mining operations. So marami siyang use, So I would say in demand din ang Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. Bachelor of Science in Forestry.
I don't know how to classify this one, Morgan, kasi I don't know who would hire for forestry except for yung mga logging corporations who have to report to the DNR.
Lumber
Corporation. I mean, they are there, pero I think that's a very thin market. What do you think?
Sa akin, low demand siya, but there is.
Yeah.
Parang more of low demand kasi either here, pero dito sa Philippines may log ban. So, more of sa mag-abroad ka nito with BS Forestry. Pero may demand siya. I wouldn't say it's a waste of
Yeah,
time.
I can't say it's a waste of time kasi may mga naghahanap talaga. Pero it'll be a tough market lang to enter.
So, low demand.
Yeah, low demand.
Okay, sige. Bachelor of Science in Fisheries.
I think that one's I wouldn't call that one top tier or best, or I would say that's in demand naman because there's quite a lot of fishing companies in the Philippines and around the world. Yun nga lang, I think it's a tough life kasi you might end up having to go to mga fishing vessels, you might be going to a lot of countries na walang masyadong development because you're looking for yun nga dense fishing areas. But I think that's in demand.
In demand. Actually, I was gonna say in demand also. So, nagtutugma tayo kasi when you go abroad, no, this is one is directly related to production kasi, no. So, fish is always an in-demand product. So, if you're in BS Fisheries, fishing companies or those who hunt for fish will always want to have someone like you, no. So, BS Fisheries is a generally in-demand course globally. Bachelor of Science in Geology.
That's a good course, I think. It's a tough course because again, just like fisheries, siguro yung mga potential job clients or market is for yung mga mining companies who need yung mga MPSA, yung mga permits, diba, to be able to mine. And you have that anywhere in the world naman. And they're looking for people who can basically, certify them and make sure that they have the proper documents. I think it pays well. It's just I think it's a tough job to get into, but I think it's an in-demand job. Because there are so many mining companies and
Yes.
ang dami sana nahirapan makakuha ng permits.
I agree. Geology talaga kasi with our growing world, no, lalo na ngayon na-discover na ang dami mga areas that can be rich in natural resources, not just in the Philippines but globally. You can get a lot of jobs. So I would say it's an in-demand course. Bachelor of Science in Biology.
I think that is a top tier course if you end up taking medicine or med proper kasi BS Biology is a good pre-med course. And as we all know, globally, all over the world, there is a shortage of doctors, meaning kulang talaga yung mga doctors sa buong mundo. And doctors are paid really well. Yun nga lang, it's also a tough job kasi doctors end up having to work, especially when you're starting mga residents, they end up working 24 straight hours, 32 hours pa nga straight if you go to a hospital. Pero the trade-off is that a lot of them end up earning really well if you end up being a good doctor na recommended ng maraming tao. So I think that's a top tier
Agree.
course.
Top tier siya kasi directly related to pre-med eh. So with BS Biology, even if you don't take pre-med, I'm not sure but I think you can get a job where
Siguro sa mga pharmaceutical company. I'm not sure if you can become a pharmacist for them, but at least you already have the skill set.
Or sa mga manufacturing of mga ganung klaseng or sa mga scientific research labs.
I
ganyan.
guess they're-
A Bachelor of Science in Molecular Biology.
I think that's a very good course, but I think those kinds of jobs you have to be an OFW. You have to be working in the US, Canada, Europe, where the big pharmaceutical companies are working or are producing things. But I think that's a high-paying job, and I think that has a demand. So I would not say low demand, but maybe somewhere in between low demand and in demand. What do you think, Morgan?
Let's go with in demand.
Okay. Why do you say that's in demand?
Kasi molecular biology is not a common not something commonly studied, so therefore the number of graduates are less, but the demand is existing. So therefore if you graduate from molecular biology, konti lang kayo and then there's more people looking for it, therefore it drives up the value of molecular biologists, lalo sa mga research labs as well, which include pharmaceuticals, research companies that are also working on different kinds of products. So, sa akin, mataas din kasi sa medical field alone, marami ding mga medical companies that also look for molecular biologists.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so let's put that where? In demand.
In demand. Sige, let's say in demand.
Okay, Bachelor of Science in Physics. Ito, tough one.
That's a tough one for me kasi I mean, siguro a lot of people napanood yun na yung Big Bang Theory, diba? Technically, they were physicists, a majority of them, except yung isa, engineer. Yung mga physicists doon, they were professors pero they were also getting mga research grants kasi this is something in the US na kung scientist ka, the US government will fund you to study something na kahit na parang to most of us, parang wala naman kwento yung pinag-aaralan nila, mga theory lang yan. Pero in the US, if you can get a grant and you can get a professorship, talagang they were earning a lot of money dun sa basta sa buhay nila dun sa show. Ang dami ng mga luho na nabibili nila because they're taken care of well there sa US. Dito sa Pilipinas, baka low demand yan. I don't know, what have you heard dito, Morgan?
Kasi ang BS Physics, either maging teacher ka dito or part ka ng mga university or a few very limited so BS Physics unless you graduate into a PhD, not even PhD pero parang bitin siya parang siyang engineering na walang application. So I will say pang teacher to so and very few limited research roles, so low demand.
What about the next one? BS in Applied Physics.
Ayan, BS Applied Physics, no? So, there are a few companies, once again, like, siguro sikat yung mga rocket ship companies, like yung mga SpaceX and everything. Pero, the fact na yun na yung maisip ko, NASA, sa Pilipinas nga, BS Applied Physics, halos limitado pa yung maisip kong kumpanya na merong ganyang opening. So, I would say, parang kung mag-applied physics ka lang, nag-engineering ka na lang So, sa akin ito, surprising to. Ito yung first na sasabihin ko, just on my opinion, waste of time.
For me, I would say it's a low demand because it's similar to, mag-aagawan kayo with BS Physics na, again, probably better if you were an OFW working in the United States, diba? Again, working for yung mga big companies like this or siguro yung mga, I don't know, maybe car companies, car manufacturers might be looking for applied physics to study yung mga wind to tail ratio, whatever, ng mga kotse for speed and whatever. So, I think there's a low demand. It's hard to get into, but it could be a high-paying career.
Okay, sige, let's agree with low demand. Next, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry.
I think that one's in demand. I think many pharmaceutical companies are going to be looking for people who have an expertise in chemistry.
Pati mga cosmetics.
Cosmetics companies. So
paint. We're looking at mga gas companies.
Mga fuel companies. So there's so many companies that are looking for people with a chemistry background. So I think that's a top tier.
BS Chemistry is para sa akin in demand.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
In demand. Let's go in demand. Sige, let's now go to formal sciences. Sige. Bachelor of Science in Computer Science.
I think that's definitely an in-demand course. Again, there's a lot of companies that require mga IT, programming, especially with the app-based world that we have in. So I think it's parang a future-centric course. Pero it's a tough course kasi technology is always changing. So just because you learn today doesn't mean yung technology of tomorrow is the same as today, diba? So that's a tough one.
Ito sa akin, very surprising. Ito yung unang bibigyan ko ng aking best. Bakit? Kasi marami mga BPOs sa Philippines na naghahanap ng mga IT-related, computer-related mga people, So, computer science is one of those perfect ones that can actually have the best of all worlds, Kasi meron kang knowledge in deep programming and knowing how to work the IT system. So, I think it's one of those best courses.
Would you say the same sa BS in Information Technology? Very similar siya sa BS Computer Science, diba?
Pantay siya sa akin.
Okay.
Sa'yo?
Well, I would agree. Siguro it is one of the best one. Kasi yung mga, again, computer courses, when it comes to moving towards the future, especially with AI, these are the jobs na parang sila yung nagmamanage yung mga AI and looking at computer systems and especially yung mga bank security, etc., diba?
Sige, so computer science, BSIT, best courses yan. Bachelor of Science in Information Systems.
Siguro, I think that's the same na rin as IT and computer science. It's very important. I think it's also one of the best kasi it's in the same line of work.
Bachelor of Science in Mathematics.
As someone who's not really a huge fan of math, I don't really know what will be maging career mo as if you take up BS Mathematics on its own. Most likely professor ka lang.
Exactly.
Or teacher. So
ako actually like math because I'm an engineer, but I would say parang subject lang siya, hindi siya buo. Parang you learn how to do math without knowing where to apply it. So because of that, it's lacking. It's more of a teacher job, or professor jobs. So I would say low demand.
I was going to say waste of time, pero
actually more of waste of time.
Pero there are jobs out there actually for math. So maybe low demand, closer to waste of time.
Well, siguro una mag-waste of time sana ako, pero naisip ko mas konti yung graduates nito, tapos maraming schools. So because of that, meron siyang mas marami nag-hire kaysa graduates. So because of that, kahit paano may konting demand.
I guess another career I just thought of is yung mga BS Math. Importante rin sila siguro sa mga parang economies, 'di ba? There sa mga analytics rin. For calculations, maybe sa stock market, stock exchange. What about applied mathematics naman?
Wait, BS Math, saan tayo?
Siguro low demand na lang.
Sige, low demand. Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics.
Siguro I would tie that na rin with math na rin.
Pantay lang siya.
Siguro low demand na rin. I mean, you're competing in the same circle na rin eh.
Bachelor of Science in Statistics.
I think that is a top tier job.
Actually, top tier na sila.
Yeah, kasi for me, it's siguro some people are only thinking mga stat major, statistic major. Siguro mga trabaho lang nila yung mga sa mga election, mga poll watching, etc. Pero it's not just that eh. Kasi any company, any major company, kailangan nila ng statistics. 'Di ba? Kasi especially mga McDonald's, mga Jollibee, they're constantly looking at gumana ba yung product launch na to, ano ba yung market sales, at pati yung mga mall, they have statistics and everything. So, every government agency are looking at stats. So, I think that's a top tier, and it's a high income job na possibility.
Agree. Top tier course yan. No argument. Professions in Applied Sciences naman. So, Bachelor of Science in Agriculture.
I guess I would say that's an in-demand job.
In-demand
Because
job.
syempre there's a lot of farming in the Philippines, and if you can improve the farming, and if you have your own farm, at least siguro you can study on how to improve. I think you'd have to have your own business or work for a successful farm nga.
Siguro, sa akin, BS Agriculture, in-demand siya globally, ano. Sa Philippines kasi, wala masyadong agri companies just because meron tayong current limitations where maliliit pa lang small scale farms lang ang pwede sa Pilipinas. Unlike sa abroad, mga large scale farms, so mga kumpanya na nag-corporations na siya. So sa abroad, meron siyang demand. Sa Philippines, limited demand. So I'll say in-demand job. Bachelor of Science in Agribusiness.
I would still say it's the same then. It's in demand, pero better if you're somewhere abroad, if you're an OFW. Kasi as you said, the Philippine agricultural economy isn't the best right now.
Because of the policies right now.
Siguro, yeah, because of the policies, which we can talk about in another video because we have some opinions on how to make that better.
Yeah.
Pero siguro, other countries are doing it better than the Philippines. So if you're going to agriculture, agribusiness, it's better to find a job there.
So yeah, I'll put it in demand.
Yeah, in demand.
Sige. Bachelor of Science in Agroforestry.
I'd say it's the same reason with agriculture and agribusiness. It's in demand, but you have to be an OFW.
Agree. In demand but overseas. Architecture. Bachelor of Science in Architecture.
That's definitely an in-demand course to me. Kasi especially with the recent law, I'm not sure if you heard about that.
Yeah,
I think as a civil engineer, na-insulto
Yeah.
kayo dun. Pero there's that new law nga, diba? That as an architect, you can now sign building plans, diba? So alam ko, engineers had a lot of problems with that. I'm sure Morgan can explain. Pero in general, any building, any structure, you need an architect naman talaga to design something, diba? And to get it signed and sealed with the government document. So I think that's an in-demand job.
Sa akin, I'm leaning towards top tier.
Okay.
Kasi aside from local, you can also do BPO work na yung mga nagpapadesign overseas. You can even fly overseas kasi marami mga architectural jobs. So more of top tier siya.
Okay,
Ang tingin mo?
I agree, especially with that new law nga that they can sign, diba?
So naging top tier siya bigla eh. Dati in demand na naging top tier kasi may bago ng law. Bachelor in Landscape Architecture.
That's actually the first time I've heard of this course, no more.
Specific.
I mean, that's so specific, landscaping. And in the Philippines, let's face it, yung mga parks dito, kinakain na nga ng mga buildings, diba? So, maybe in other countries, landscaping is important, but it's a tough job. Siguro I'd like to say it's low demand.
Actually, low demand na
Yeah,
sabihin
kasi
ko dyan.
especially in the Philippines, there's not much landscaping here, diba?
So, low demands. Bachelor of Science in Interior Design. Yan.
I think that is an in-demand. It's below architecture kasi architects do also interior design and they have the power to sign and seal for mga government documents. Pero interior design, that's still important. And some of them can get paid really high depending on yung mga clients nila, diba? If you end up being a really good interior designer and you could be paid really high for your work.
Sa akin, tama ka, in demand siya kasi sometimes nakikipagsiksikan ka sa architect, sometimes the architect takes all of it, but sometimes clients like to split it, like yung mga houses, buildings, malls, commercial structures. So yung architects mo normally take the larger share of the pie, and sometimes interior designers are hired or sometimes they're not, but they're always in demand naman. So I'll say in demand, tama. Business area. Sige, Bachelor of Science in Accountancy.
I would definitely say that's in demand.
Ako, nasa best eh.
Okay, yeah. Well, It depends kasi. I mean, every company actually requires accountants. So
Exactly.
maybe that's, you know what, it's definitely one of the best. Kasi if you take up accountancy, for sure, there's always going to be a company looking for an accountant.
Oo.
So, yeah, that's true.
Every company, every industry, kahit anong industry siya, very versatile siya. So, and
Yeah, it's best. I agree.
best siya. So, Bachelor of Science in Accounting Technology.
I guess as long as you also get yung parang board exam of an accountant, then I would still put it under best.
Best. Okay. Bachelor of Science in Business Administration.
Well, business administration kasi is so vague, diba? I mean, even looking at this list, maraming mga business administration. There's so many majors under business administration. So how do you want to divide that?
Siguro, let's go first with business ad. Plainly, business ad is an in-demand because maraming mga companies that will always find it. It's very general, so you'll always find yourself in a management level. Of course, marami kayo nagko-compete for that position. So, because of that, I cannot really put it at top tier kasi of the competition. But since there's a huge demand for any industry, I'll say in demand.
I would
But
agree.
if we go to mga specifics like a Bachelor of Sciences with a major, like a major in Business Economics, anong tingin mo din?
I think business economics is also just regular in demand.
What about major in Financial Management?
I think major in financial management is top tier because there are so many banks that are always looking. You can be a bank manager or you could be in the bank head office. You could be working for the stock exchange. I think that's very important. So I think that's top tier. I wouldn't say it's the best because it's not everyone's looking for it, but there's quite a large market that's looking for that.
So, major in Financial Management, top tier. Okay, Business Administration, major in Human Resources Development.
I think that's one of the best trend because every company, everywhere, is looking for someone to handle HR, diba? Pero you're also going to be fighting with people who took up BS or AB Psych, so that's a tough one, rin. But I think it's a top tier one because everyone's looking for that, naman.
Top tier, okay. Business Administration, major in Marketing Management.
I think I'm going to put that as a top tier for me because again, it's a course or it's a job that practically every company is looking for. Every big company, every bank, they're always looking for someone who knows marketing. What about-
Correct, agree, fully agree. Business Administration, major in Operations Management.
I still say that's also top tier.
Top tier as
especially mga factories. Every business has operations that they need to study. So I think everyone's going to take that.
Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management, HRM.
I can't consider that top tier.
It's very specific
It's
industry.
very specific. I would say it's definitely in demand because there's always new hotels and restaurants being open. Pero a lot of other people who are not HRM are also get to open or run restaurants. So, but I'd still say it's in demand.
I'll say in demand. Okay. Ito very sensitive to. Medyo may opinions ako dito. Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship.
Kasi the problem with entrepreneurship, from the word itself, diba? You're not getting a job.
Ay, parang hindi ka magtatrabaho
Yeah,
dyan.
ikaw yung
magpapatrabaho.
gagawa ng trabaho.
So, ba't ka pa nag-aral niyan, di ba?
I mean, I understand why you study it. Kasi if you want to make a business, siguro there are things you can learn. Pero I think it's a good course if you're going to start a business. It's just going to be hard.
Yeah,
diba?
but sa atin, ang topic natin is for employers.
For job, career development. So,
in that line,
I think it's siguro low demand.
sa akin, parang waste
of time. Yeah, siguro. Kasi I mean, as an employer, parang what benefit does an entrep grad give you?
Marami magugulat dito na Bachelor of Science, nilagyan namin ng waste of time. Pero ganun talaga kasi as an employer, why would you hire sa an entrepreneur, di ba? Kung ikaw rin naman yung employer, bakit ka mag-hire ng taong ininegosyo ka lang? So parang competition mo pa eh. Kaya hindi siya bagay sa job market eh. Bachelor of Science in Office Administration.
I'm gonna say low demand.
Low demand.
Every office has an administrator, but it doesn't have to be office administration naman. It's so specific.
Kasi you're competing with business administrator eh. Tapos may office administrator.
So
Parang low demand.
It's a tough career.
Bachelor of Science in Real Estate Management. Sobrang specific.
It's very specific. I mean, some real estate brokers get to earn a lot of money, pero ang dami mo ng competition. You're basically like your own entrepreneur. You have to be really good at this. So I would say low demand.
Actually, low demand rin siya kasi very specific yung industry. So because of that, bilang na bilang yung yung choices mo of employers. Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management.
I'd say that's low demand. I can't imagine many companies hiring tourism management.
I don't even know if what company hires tourism
Maybe the
management.
Department of Tourism is hiring. Pero yun nga, ilan lang talaga for
But
your
even
career.
that, you're competing with people who graduated business administration na plain eh. So,
So I
even
would
tourism
say,
management competes with marketing
siguro
pa
it's a
eh.
waste of time then as a BS.
Parang waste of time.
Yeah,
ano?
yeah.
So, waste of time. Health Sciences. Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology.
I'd say that's also a top tier course. Kasi you're going to be needed in any hospital.
Medtech.
And there's very few of you
Correct.
taking up medicine, diba? And even yung mga plastic surgery, yung mga bello, diba? I'm pretty sure they need med techs rin, diba? So, and it leads to being a doctor or a nurse.
So, top tier. Bachelor of Science in Midwifery.
Siguro that's closer to nursing. So,
But it's not nursing.
what jobs nga can you take as a midwife, diba?
Sa akin in demand because there are midwife jobs.
Yeah. I'd say closer to a nurse. But if you're going to take that, why not be a nurse instead?
I'll put BS Midwifery at in demand.
Yeah.
Then ito na, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Even if I don't really describe this course, I would really put it already part of the best because the demand is just overwhelming all over the world, not just here. The salaries are very high. If you don't want to think anymore and just want a high salary job, Bachelor of Science in Nursing is like a no-brainer course to take for that. What do you think?
I think it's definitely one of the best courses. I mean, kaya nga yun yung joke, diba, na kung Pilipino ka sa abroad, nurse ka. Kasi there's a shortage of nurses. All over the world, kahit saan ka pumunta, there's a shortage. Kaya sobrang taas ng bayad ng mga nurse. Mahirap nga lang yung trabaho, and you might not be happy, it might not be your passion, but if you're looking for a good job, I don't know about career growth. Siguro the most you can be is a head nurse. But you'll definitely be paid well. So I would say it's one of the best.
Okay, Bachelor of Science in Occupational Therapy.
I guess that's if you're leading to be, that's a pre-med to a doctor. It's in demand. I'm not sure what other jobs are looking for
Hindi ko
occupational
nga alam,
therapy.
pero
eh,
alam
diba?
ko meron eh. So I'll just put it at in demand. Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy.
I'd say it's top tier because there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies, yung mga cosmetics companies, diba? So there's a lot of jobs for that
For
and it can pay high.
pharmacists.
Yeah, pharmacists, diba? You have to sign it.
So, top tier, sige. Bachelor of Science in Physical Therapy. Ito, nakakatawang course to.
Well, technically, physical therapists are important sa hospitals for people who are recovering from injuries. So I think there's a market. It's just, you're only going to be working at specifically hospitals, diba?
So what? Low demand.
I would still say it's in demand naman. I
In
mean,
demand.
it could pay high kasi.
But it's very specific for the medical profession. Sige, in demand. Bachelor of Science in Radiologic Technology, RadTech.
Well, that's for x-rays. So siguro yung mga health clinic na yun. I'd say that's in demand kasi for sure there's so many x-rays naman eh. And yung mga clinics where you get check-ups, diba? Any job, any school, kailangan ka magpa-x-ray. Pero it's a tough market kasi marami rin mga ibang radtech. Pero for sure you'll get a job sa hospital or sa clinic. So I'd say it's in demand.
In demand. Okay, Bachelor of Science in Respiratory Therapy.
I think that's similar to physical therapy. So it's in demand. It's not one of the best, but for sure you'll get a job sa mga hospital.
Okay, in demand. Sige, Bachelor of Science in Speech Language Pathology.
That I'm not really sure. For sure, hospitals are the ones going to hire that again. Pero I'd say maybe low demand kasi baka ilan lang yung mga job openings. I don't know, what do you think, Morgan?
I agree, low demand siya because very specific siya eh. Kasi you can't really have like a wide range of job openings for speech language pathology, but there are, but very limited, so I'll say low demand. Bachelor of Science in Sports Science. Sa akin, waste of time. Pasensya na ah. Ikaw, ang tingin mo?
Well, back in Lasal, I'm sure you've heard of that. Yung mga athlete natin na varsity, na mga basketball players or volleyball players, what they would take nga para they could stay in Lasal and still play basketball and still get good grades is sports science. Sa totoo lang, I don't really see a career in sports science. Siguro if you're really a varsity player, pero
Even that, you don't need to study.
you don't really need to study sports science, di ba? And they miss their classes nga most of the time eh, to play their games and to become a sports champion, pero they didn't need the class. It just parang pampatawid lang, di ba?
Kasi even mga sports companies like yung mga nasa NBA, PBA, they hire business administration people eh, but not sports science kasi business ad mas kumpleto yung kanyang administrative work kung may manager siya or sa back end. So sports science, Halos waste of time yan eh.
It's a waste of time.
Education. Sige, Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education.
I think that's a top tier
Top
because
tier teachers yan,
there's so many teachers and there's a shortage nga of teachers, and now they increased the paying of the teachers sa DepEd. Diba?
Okay, top tier. Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education.
I think that's also top tier.
Top
Same
tier.
rin siya sa secondary. There's actually more elementary students pa nga, diba?
Secondary Education, major in Technology and Livelihood Education.
I think that's for yung mga TESDA courses. So I think that's also top tier because
Top tier.
TESDA pays really well, no? Especially
Yes.
the government's trying to train more people. You're very useful, so you'll always have a job na.
Next is Secondary Education, major in Biological Sciences.
Well, that's still teacher.
Teacher pa
It's just
rin.
more specific, and we might have a better chance at getting a science course teacher. So
Top
I think
tier.
that's top tier.
Secondary Education, major in English.
I think that is important. So you could also actually compete with yung mga AB English courses and be a teacher nga. So I think that's actually higher rank, more top tier, because you could be an OFW and you could be here, paid well here and paid well abroad. So I think that's top tier.
Okay, Secondary Education, major in Filipino.
I think that's below English, major in English.
So more of just in demand.
Just in demand. Kasi for sure, dito sa Pilipinas, ma-hire ka as a teacher dito sa Pilipinas. Pero hindi ka magiging OFW for sure. Wala kang career path to be OFW.
Secondary Education, major in Mathematics.
That one I would still say is also mga top tier because you can also be an OFW anywhere, diba? And at least you'll be a math teacher.
Kasi pinagkaiba sa BS Math versus Secondary Education, it was really tailor-fitted for you to become a teacher.
A math teacher.
Which is yung mga, any BS education, parang mas wider siya din the specific kasi talagang pan-teacher ka. Sige, Bachelor of Science, major in Islamic Studies. Yan, medyo questionable ako dyan.
Siguro low demand. You could be a...
Sa akin parang waste of time. Pero sige, go.
No. My argument there is if you're an OFW and you work in like the Middle Eastern countries or Islam countries where you could be a teacher in Islamic studies. Pero here in the Philippines, if you were just, kung hindi ka OFW, waste of time yan. Kung maging OFW ka sa Muslim country, low demand to high demand yun.
Saan muna yung Islamic Studies? Low demand.
Waste of time kung dito sa Pilipinas lang.
Sige, waste of time na lang. Pasensya na. Secondary Education, major in Music Arts and Physical and Health Education. So parang PE, Music Arts.
Siguro, to be fair, every school has that naman. So it's in demand. It's not top tier. But I would say it's in demand. You'll get a job as a teacher, diba?
In demand. Okay. Secondary Education, major in Physical Sciences.
Again, probably in demand.
In demand, okay. Major Secondary Education, major in Social Studies.
I'd still say that's in demand. You'll still be a teacher.
Secondary Education, major in Values Education.
That's still a teacher, which is in demand, but it's not as good as the other ones that we've mentioned.
So low demand.
So low demand.
Elementary Education, major in Preschool Education.
I think that's a top tier one.
Top tier.
Kasi yun nga, diba? Mas marami sa preschool, then kumukonte sa elementary, then kumukonte sa secondary. So
Correct.
there's a lot more demand.
Yes. Elementary Education, major in Special Education, SPED.
I think that pays well but there's not that many special education, so I'd say low demand.
Bachelor of Library and Information Science in the Philippines.
I think that's going to be low demand. I mean, there are librarians. Every school needs one, pero I think ilan lang yung librarian bawat school, diba? So I think that's a tough one.
Low demand. Bachelor of Physical Education.
I think that's in demand kasi
In
every
demand.
teacher naman. There's always a PE teacher naman, diba?
Parang yung isa kanina, parang PE teacher din eh. Engineering. So, marami dito.
Let's look at aeronautical engineering.
Ayan. So, aeronautical engineering, nasaan yan? Best yan para sa akin. Kasi, this one leads to becoming a technician or an aircraft technician. So, because of that, mga matataas ang bayad nito. And there are very few of those who actually graduate. And airline companies just keep growing as the technology grows and travel industry grows. So, sa akin, one of the best courses yan, tingin mo.
I agree. Yeah, kasi there's really a market for that.
Bachelor of Science in Ceramic Engineering.
I'm not really sure what ceramic engineering entails, but since there's a lot of yung mga companies nga that create tiles and ceramics these days, I think that's definitely in demand. I don't know if it's a best or top tier, but it's definitely somewhere in demand.
More of in demand. Sa akin, kasi parati siyang nandyan, but it's it's too specific eh. So you're basically just, in one, not even industry, a few companies that do this, but not actually maraming companies that do this. So it's just not as wide as the others. So the pay won't also be as astronomical as say mga nasa aeronautics, but it's a good job. So I'll say in demand. It's Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering.
I think that is a top tier to best course. Kasi yun nga, there are a lot of companies, mga pharmaceutical companies na rin, or yung mga fuel companies.
Fuel companies.
You could be an OFW, paid really well, working at mga gas, mga oil tankers or whatever, diba? So what do you think?
Top tier, definitely.
Yeah.
Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Sige, ako mag-describe ito. Ako, I'm a civil engineer, no? So, talagang malaki yung demand for civil engineers because of the infrastructure boom, no? But, actually, siguro you're gonna expect me to say best, ano, because I'm a civil engineer myself. But I know a lot of my batchmates na civil engineer, and they're not really paid that well, ano? In comparative, no, to like other professions, ano? Civil engineering is a hard course, a hard job. You do a lot of mathematics. But apparently, it's because of the structure right now, architects are valued the most, and then civil engineers, the ones who do the computations, are valued a bit less than, not even a bit, sometimes a lot less than architects because sila yung nakaharap sa clients. So, it depends. There are a few engineers who have excelled, but on the vast average or majority, parang they're just okay. So, I would say, you'll always find a job as civil engineer. Hindi ka mawawala ng trabaho because abroad, anywhere, talagang malakas ang demand as long as society keeps growing. I cannot say it's a best course because medyo hindi talaga mataas yung bayad as a civil engineer. Maybe in the US, mas mataas. And here sa Pilipinas, hindi. So, depende kung ano yung level mo. So, I'll just say top tier lang siya.
Okay. I was going to say, at least it's in demand, diba? Pero
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's a top tier because no matter what, you'll always have a career in
Oo.
civil engineering.
Talaga magkakatrabaho ka kahit anong mangyari, no? Yung pinag-uusapan na natin kung gaano ka kagaling as a civil engineer, may levels din yun eh. So, kung talaga magaling ka, you can really fly, pero ilan lang yun eh. So, the vast majority stay dun sa, utusan, site engineer, mas mataas siya din na normal job, pero hindi siya yung mga tipong pangpayamanan na job. Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering.
I think that is also a top tier job because yun nga, it's related to programming and AI and everything in today's society. There are a lot of companies that will need this, so you'll definitely have a career in that.
Sa akin, top tier din ang Computer Engineering. Alright. Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering.
I think that's also a top tier job because no matter what, may trabaho ka.
Yeah, exactly. Top tier din yan kasi electrical engineering goes with construction. So, magkakasama yan ng architecture, civil engineering, electrical. Iisang grupo yan when it comes to the construction world. Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering, ECE.
I guess that is a top tier rin.
Top
Kasi,
tier.
for sure, you'll always have a job rin. And I'm sure that's a high-paying career.
Bachelor of Science in Geodetic Engineering.
That one I'm not sure.
Actually, related yan kasi sa sa civil engineering, but that's more of the yung mga outside of the urban, sa mga rural areas. So I would say top tier pa rin
Okay,
siya.
so it's a top tier. Yeah, so at least you'll always have a job naman.
So, mataas din yung mga bayad dyan, but ang problema lang sa geodetic engineering, medyo siya, sporadic work, no? Geological engineering.
Siguro that's another thing for the mining companies, diba? So I would still say that's in demand to top tier. Because for sure there's a lot of mining companies and you could be an OFW with that.
I'll put it at top tier pa rin. Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering. So, industrial engineering is actually similar to business administration with a bit more technicality. So, I'll say top tier din. Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering.
I think that's in demand to top tier rin. Again, it's related to fisheries, it's related to working for yung mga production companies. So I think that's somewhere there. What do you think, Morgan?
Top tier because marine engineering also helps yung mga shipping companies. So pwede ka sa mga seafaring companies, sa mga seaman, mga ganon. Bachelor of Science in Materials Engineering. Sige, what do you think?
I think that's also a top tier course kasi that means you're going to be working for a lot of factories, a lot of production companies who are making products, yung mga siguro yung mga even making clothes, making mga laptops, iPads, etc. You're studying the materials of things. I think that's going to be necessary.
So top tier din sa akin yan. Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
I think that's for me one of the best because there's mechanics is a lot in everything.
lalo
Cars,
na
machines,
aircon.
etc. Aircon. So you're definitely going to have a career with that one.
So one of the best course ang actually mas mataas pa ngayon kaysa civil engineering, pero actually dyan yung course na halos walang babae noong panahon namin. Next is Bachelor of Science in Mining Engineering.
I think it's in demand. Definitely, again, talking about mining companies, there's a lot of that. So I think you're going to be very useful sa mga mining companies. And you'll definitely have a career naman.
Yeah. So, in demand siya, lalo sa Pilipinas because we're a mining country, no? Maraming natural resources under the ground that are being mined. So, I would say in demand. Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering.
I think that's one of the best because that has some really high-paying jobs. But you'll definitely have to work abroad or work offshore petroleum companies, oil rigs, mga ganyan. You'll be paid well. And there's careers for that, and there's very few people who are taking that up. So I think that's one of the best for me. What do you think, Morgan?
Actually, tama. Best siya kasi yun nga, there's a high demand but very few people are graduating from this. So, because of that, you'll really have a good paid job. So, I think that's one of the best as well. Bachelor of Science in Broadcasting, Media and Communication naman tayo. AB Broadcasting.
I think that's a low demand course. Definitely, you're going to be just working for either PR companies or GMA, ABS. So medyo konti lang yung mga opportunities mo
Yeah,
dyan.
you can count in your hand the number of places you can go to. So low demand siya. Sige, Bachelor of Arts in Communication, ABCom.
I would say it's low demand rin. It's similar to broadcasting. It's again, it's something if you really want to become someone in GMA or ABS, then go ahead.
Yeah, actually low demand siya. Then highly competitive also. So low demand. Bachelor of Science in Development Communication.
Siguro you're going to be competing again with BA Com and BA Broadcasting. It's probably low demand in general, I think, kasi you're just competing in the same market nga. Bachelor of Arts in Journalism naman.
Journalism.
Again, I think that's a low demand thing. You're
Low
going to be
demand.
working again for GMA, ABS, or maybe one of the newspapers. So I think that's low demand.
Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication.
I think that's also low demand because you're competing with the same yung lahat ng courses that we just mentioned. They're the same job market eh.
Di ko masabing waste of time kasi marami naman talaga mga opportunities in the media industry. Yung nga lang, because it's so saturated, then many people are taking up these courses compared to the jobs. The salary rates does not really go high. No? There are a few who actually succeed, but yung mga nakikita nyo, iilan lang sila eh. The vast majority are, yung mga names that you don't even know, that they're just there, trying to find a way to get up, but majority, it's just an oversaturated job market in the media and communications.
What about Bachelor of Science in Community Development?
This is more of a government job, very specific, so I'll say low demand.
Yeah, I think it's very specific. You could get a job, but it might be tough to find one because you're only going to be really working for the government, so mga government agencies or local government units, diba?
Okay, Bachelor of Science in Customs Administration. Ito, tricky to.
Well, I can't really give a comment about customs.
Ito, marami dito kasi customs broker ang nagiging
Yeah, but
na
it's
trabaho.
I think it's low demand. You,
kasi
you have the potential to earn a lot of money.
Pero kasi ano siya eh, parang importers lang yung pwede mong applyan. So, kukunti talaga.
And then may mga established na kasi mga customs. Or it's either you work at customs or you work for companies, pero companies don't have an in-house customs person usually, di ba? I'm not sure.
Marami mga nagtatrabaho sa customs, but even the number of openings sa customs, halos lahat filled na, ilan lang yung nagbubukas each year eh. So, I'll say low demand. Bachelor of Science in Foreign Service.
I'd say this one's also low demand kasi again, you're mainly working for either Philippine embassies or embassies that are based in the Philippines. I mean, there's a lot of them, pero ilan rin yung ilan kayo competing for that job market. So I'd say it's low demand.
Low demand. Sige. Bachelor of Science in International Studies. I would say closer to waste of time.
Yeah, kasi you're competing with the foreign service na rin eh.
Sige. Waste of time.
Waste of time.
Sige. Bachelor of Science in Public Administration.
Well, again, this is a course that you're only going to be really working for the government. So
Yeah,
I would
so-
say it's low demand. It's very
Yeah.
specific. Eh.
Let's say you're working for an LGU, a government agency, people who are planning to work for government or run for government for public office. So, low demand job.
Okay.
Transportation. Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation.
I think that's definitely in demand kasi shipping, basically you can be a ship captain one day and you can be paid really high, or yung sailor, I don't know what you call them today.
Yeah, mga seafarers.
Seafarer,
So, in demand yan, in demand. And high-paying jobs. Bachelor of Science in Food Tech.
I think that's in demand kasi yung mga production companies making food here in the Philippines or abroad, for sure you might have a career there.
Sa akin, more of low demand.
Okay.
Kasi parang you don't really get too much companies that hire for food tech in particular. But
Okay, yeah. I get it.
Low demand.
So, I mean, I think that's all the courses that we have
Yep,
today.
that's it.
So, I hope none of you felt insulted naman kasi we're looking at naman yung mga practical career choices, di ba, Morgan?
Yeah, so actually this video was made not to insult those who are studying or graduated from these courses, but as a guide, no, of what you can do in the industry. So we were able to see a whole spectrum. We are in hiring different kinds of peoples with different kind of backgrounds. We've tried everybody from physical therapists to health science to mga food tech. We've put them in different industries, and we've seen how they perform and the difficulties and the challenges of hiring people with backgrounds not really far from what the industry demand is. Kaya medyo hirap yung mga nag-aaral dun sa lalo na yung mga waste of time courses. Sila yung mas nahihirapan humabol, kaya in terms of promotion sila yung nahuhuli kasi talagang challenging kapag yung pinag-aralan mo may kulang. Mag-aaral ka pa lang habang nagtatrabaho, habang iba meron ng base knowledge. So, para sa amin, ginagawa namin tong video na to is to guide everybody so that they can have a better life or better career. Now, if you studied one of these courses that we said na waste of time, we're here to guide you na maybe you can add your knowledge by taking additional education for those specific better or in-demand jobs, no, that marami naman mga technical vocational courses that can give you higher chances of being in demand to top tier courses or top tier jobs, no. So yun yung guide video na ginawa namin sa inyo. Hindi to para mang-insulto, but as a guide para mas gumanda pa ang future ninyo, so lalo sa mga nanonood. Alright, sige, so thank you sa mga nanonood, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Salamat!
Thank you.